Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is the Sunday 5 p.m. demo at the Canada's Big Landmarks online crop. We have had a fabulous 4 days. We are not done yet. We are still touring through the Maritimes, seeing all the exciting giant things that there are to see. And we are also still doing some crafting. So we're going to be creating this evening using from the September to December mini catalog. We are going to be using the set that is called A Little Bit Festive, and this is a 12 by 12 specialty designer series paper. And as you can see here, there are three different pattern papers, and then there are three specialty die cut papers, one that has frames and a border, and then two that are all sorts of icons that have been die cut, and we're going to be using that. You can see some artwork there that was created with those items. And we're also going to be mixing in a little bit of this Season of Elegance, which is also a specialty DSP, designer series paper that has gold foil on it. And so we're going to be creating today, and we're actually making three different items. And I have kind of staged them as sort of beginner, intermediate, and more advanced. And so you can see how one collection can be used for all of those scenarios. So let's get started. All of my cards today are going to be starting out with a standard size card base made out of the basic white cardstock. So the completed size is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So for my first card, I'm going to be using one of the die cut backgrounds. And frankly, that could go on a card, maybe not a white card, but you could put it on a red card or something. And that could just be a card in itself. We're going to step it up just a smidge because I also want to add in this die cut, which is a lovely little stack of presents. And as you can see, it's got some gold foil on there. So our background piece also has gold foil, which is a nice little touch. And keeping that in mind with the colors that we have and the gold foil, this is where I've decided to mix in some of that Seasons of Elegance gold foil specialty paper. And so I've got the red and the gold going on here. Now you might wonder about this. So I cut my specialty paper, the Seasons of Elegance, so it was 4 inches by 5 1/4, a little bit less than the base of my card. And I knew that I was going to take this large image and put it right on top. And so my mind said, why are we going to waste all of that hidden paper under there? So I went ahead and I die cut a piece out of the center. That actually works really well if you're mailing these because you're reducing the weight, you're reducing the bulk, and you're also getting more use out of your paper. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this to our card base. So this was 4 by 5 1/4. And this is what I would classify as a beginner card. This is actually a great collection for people who are not avid card makers because of all of the die cuts. It really does lend itself to quick and easy card making. But then other people who want to do a little bit extra, because some of us like to be a little extra, we can easily step it up. So let's center this on our Season of Elegance paper. And then to add on our little gifts, let's grab some Stampin Dimensionals for that. Flip it over. And we're just going to add a few on there. to pop up our image like that. Now, this collection does not have any sentiments. There are no die cuts that are sentiments. So if you have stamps, you can go ahead and add your sentiments that way. There are also ephemera packs that you can get that have sentiments, and that is a quick and easy way to just add them on. Or you can leave it like that and just keep all of your message on the inside. So this is sort of a beginner entry level step 1 card. Done and complete. So we haven't added any extra bling. We have simply started with our card base, adding in that little extra pizzazz with the Seasons of Elegance paper, and then adding on our panel and our extra little embellishment with some 3D foam tape. So that's card number 1. Let's move on to card number 2. So card number 2, like card number 1, we're going to be starting with our basic white cardstock card base. My words are failing me. And then instead of adding in a specialty DSP, we're going to add in a layer of Pecan Pie cardstock. And this has actually been cut to cover the entire front of our card base. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 Pecan Pie, which is a lovely color. It reminds me of gingerbread and probably pecan pie. And that is going to play into what goes on next. When I'm adding a full-size sheet to the front of my card, I like to have my fingertips right on the edge of my fold, and then I slide my cardstock up to my fingertips, lining top and bottom, and then I just lay it down, and that helps me get everything lined up. Now the next piece I'm going to come in with is another one of those panels that were part of the die cuts. And look at this one. Isn't that cute? It's got lovely gingerbreads all over it with lovely icing. There's even some chocolate chip cookies in there. So lovely festive treats happening. We're getting festive with our crafting this afternoon. And for some of you, I know you have already done all of your Christmassy festive cards, but some of us have barely started, and so it's nice to see ideas as we go along. So there, we're going to center that panel on the front of our card like that. Then from the die cuts, there was also on the sheet that had the big panels, there was a strip through the center that was this lovely sort of candy stripe. And of course, when you think gingerbread, you think candy, you think icing, you think of all the sweet treats. So this is an 1 1/4 strip that came as a die cut, but it was a full length, like a 12 by 12 length. So this piece, I have cut it to 4 1/4, and we're going to put it on the front of our card from side to side. So it's going to go all the way across. We're going to layer that on like so. And I want to put it, I'm going to use my mat to help me. I'm going to put it about 1 inch from the bottom. That's 1 1/4. I don't want 1 1/4. I want 1 inch. There we go. About 1 inch from the bottom. Then I'm going to bring in some other die cuts. So just like our previous card, we have our base card, we added something extra, we added the panel, then we added the die cut. But this one we're doing just a little bit more, right? We've got our banner, we've added in other cardstock, and now we're adding in some of these die cuts. So let's add some foam on here to pop it up. I like this little gingerbread house. Isn't it sweet? Literally. Sweet, sweet. So I'm just going to stick that on here. And I'm not going to make it look like it's sitting on something. I'm going to tip it a little bit. Although I do want to have my little gingerbread guy showing there. So we're going to tip him a little bit. Then we're going to add in our hot cocoa. Look at that, so delicious. Makes me want to have a big mug of it right now. We're going to pop some foam Stampin Dimensionals on the back of that. And again, we're going to go a little off kilter, and we're going to drop it below that nice little banner of peppermint stripe. And speaking of peppermints, we're going to add a big peppermint. We're not going to use that. We're going to use this to our card. And it kind of matches what's above the door on our gingerbread house. It's also got a little bit of gold foil on there for a little bit of shine. We're going to just tuck that right in there like that. And then we're going to add a little something extra. I have here the Earth Tones Shimmer Gems, and we're going to add a little bit of bling to this one. So it's a little bit busier from that other card. So we're going to add some of these guys down here and just find a spot, because we've got little crummies and things that are happening, and I think it would be cute to add some other little blings. So we're going to pop one right there, and we'll add a couple down here, a big one and a little one, just to have a little bit of bling going on there. Put the cap back on, take my pick tool. Great for picking up those little embellishments. So there we have sort of our intermediate level where we've taken our base cardstock, we've added some pecan pie, coordinating with the panel that we added, adding in that horizontal peppermint stripe, popping up our embellishments, and adding in that one with the little gold foil, and then of course some little shimmer gemmies, blingies on there for a little extra something something. Okay, let's step it up one more time, and this time we are going to be creating our card on the horizontal. So this is the same size card, but it's 5.5 by 4.25 basic white cardstock, and we're going to be adding again that same Season of Elegance specialty paper to the throwing it around to our panel. This has been cut to 4 by 5.25, but I'm going to add a little extra adhesive on here, and you will see why in just a minute. So this is kind of a more advanced card that we're going to create. There we go. Sometimes we look at some of the things and we say, oh, you know, that's not quite what I would, that doesn't really speak to me, because I like to make my own kinds of cards. And so things that have die cuts and pre-done things don't always appeal to everybody for that reason. But I think it is always a challenge to take those kinds of things and then make them your own. So here we have one of the panels that was a frame, which has beautiful hollies and berries and evergreen boughs, and it's all been cut out to create a frame, and it's going to nestle right inside there. But we're going to pizzazz it up just a smidge, and I'm going to need my glue dots to help me with this. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in a piece of acetate, and this has been cut to 4 3/4 by 3.5, and we're going to attach our acetate to our frame. Let me just get myself situated here. I gotta get it so I can pick up my glue dots. So I'm just going to go ahead and add glue dots around the edge of my acetate. And I find that glue dots are a good choice for sticking things to acetate. Sometimes tape runner and things like that do not really have enough stick. I could probably be using big glue dots for this, but I grabbed the little ones. So we'll continue on with the little ones. So I'm just going to go all the way around, adding them every, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, somewhere around there. And last side. And I'm doing it nearish the edge, about 1/4 of an inch in. One more. For good measure, whenever you're doing this, you can take that trailing end off. I'm going to pop it back in the box because, as you know, they will unravel and it will stick to everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and just center it on the back of my die cut frame. Make sure it's well stuck like that. And then I'm going to come in with another product here. It's called a foam adhesive strip. And these are the same kind of thing as the Dimensionals, but they're in long, skinny strips, which is perfect for what we want to do because we are going to turn this into a shaker card. And so all we're going to do is we're going to take these long, skinny strips and we are going to kind of go around the edge of our frame. When you get to a point where it's too much of a change to just bend it, because sometimes you can just kind of bend it, then you're going to snip it off and you're going to go around the corner like that. Get yourself another one. Now these have already been cut a little shorter. They are actually the full length of this, but I've been using this, so that's where it's at. And when you stick them on, you want to make sure that they get butted right up against each other. And we're just going to go all the way around. You want to be fairly close to the edge of your opening, which keeps you from having to add too much filler into your shaker card. Butt that right up there. And there we go. And then we can add some extra bits here on the edges. You even got the outside frame here. So we'll add some extra bits because once you've popped up part of a frame, you have to pop up all of it. It's part and parcel. There we go. Probably adding much more than I need to, but we will get it stuck on there. One more strip ought to do it. And we'll just stick that one on there. Excellent. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to peel off our backings on all our little bits. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because I've built my shaker backwards because I have a frame and I wanted to follow my frame, and I've already got my acetate and everything on there. And sometimes you have to build things in reverse from what is normally done. Did I get that backing off? I did not. That's one thing about a shaker, you got to make sure all the backing comes off. Because if you left any backing on, your shaker is going to leak. We don't want that. Okay, there we go. We've got it all off. And it doesn't really matter which way this goes, but I'm going to line it up on my thing here. So let me see. This was 5 by 3 3/4. So we're gonna have 3 3. Okay, I'm gonna line it up there. That way we're hopefully gonna get it centered. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in with some filler. So you can use sequins, you can use gems, you can use whatever you have. And this is just something from my stash. And it's all of these lovely little gold stars, which is going to look great with that Season of Elegance specialty paper. And because this is a fairly large shaker, I can be fairly generous with the amount of sequins that I'm putting in here. And because of the way I'm doing it, which is really silly of me, I should just dump it. I'm getting them everywhere. So let's grab our tweezers. Live and learn. Because we're getting some stuck in the foam. And we don't really want them stuck in the foam. There we go. One thing that happens with acetate is very staticky. And so the little tiny embellishments will just sort of jump all around from the effect of the static, which is what was happening there. Okay, let's just dump a little bit more. I think it can handle a little bit more, because what's going to happen is a lot of them are going to kind of go to the bottom and hide until you shake it. All right, now we're going to spread them out a little bit so we don't just get one big clump. Spreading them out. Okay, and yes, there are some that are just gone wayward. That's okay. It's kind of like using glitter. All right, got it lined up. And so what we're going to do is I'm using the edges of my grid here to help me line up. And hopefully we'll have it centered. And if it's not, it'll be a little bit not centered. And that's okay. Hey, Mom, nice to see you're watching. I see Heather's here too. And Mary, good evening. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at all that lovely shaky goodness in there. And because I don't have a sentiment or anything inside, it's not covering anything up per se. So all that stuff can just shake, rattle, and roll. But I did put enough so that even if it's standing up, there's still visible sequins there. So that's awesome. That's what I wanted to go for. And then what we want to do is come in with a little extra embellishment. So there's this really cute branch with stockings in the die cuts, and I thought that would just be perfect. And let me see, do I want to pop it up or do I want to just stick it on? That is the question, because we've already got foam there, so we're going to get a really thick card going. You know what, I'm going to stick it down flat, just because we've already got that dimension happening with the shaker. And if you're going to stick it in the mail, they're going to charge you 7 times the price if you go too thick. No, that's not quite 7 times the price. I'm being dramatic. But you know what I'm saying. They'll charge you extra. So we'll just go ahead and stick this down. I think this is super cute. It's such a nice embellishment. And we like stockings in our house. So I'm just going to line that up there, making sure we're not going over the edges of the card. And there we go. Look at that with that fun shaker. And who doesn't love an interactive shakery card? So festive, so fun. Lots of little sparkle in there. So those are the 3 cards that we're making today. Now there are so many bits and pieces in this collection. Maybe I'll just show you one more that I was kind of playing with. You know what? We could even put it together. I'm not sure where this would fall on the scale. Probably basic card. So here's a, again, our starter piece of basic white. We're adding in another piece of that Season of Elegance Designer Series paper. See, I wasn't going to do any more, but then I got excited. Okay. And then we have this fun die cut that's got some beautiful trees on it. We're going to add that on. Add a little bit of adhesive. You can see how fast this is going to go. So if you're thinking, you know, we're getting you know, as time goes on, getting down to the wire. You've got cards you got to get made. Sometimes you just need something that's going to get done, right? It doesn't have to be all that in a cup of cheese. It can just be done. And then we're going to bring in a couple more die cuts. Grab some dimensionals, pop them on. Oh, there's our little embellishment. I knew it went somewhere. Like that. One more. I like this little red truck. Oh my goodness. A lot of people love decorating in the winter with those little red trucks. And so I thought it was super cute that there was one here. You'll notice where I placed that little snowbank with the trees, I've left some blank space down here. That's my roadway. So I'm going to put my little truck driving along my road. Then let's add another tree on here, but we're going to pop it up with a little bit of dimensionals. So we've got a trio of trees off to the side of the road. And that darker peacock color from the Seasons of Elegance is kind of giving a bit of night sky vibes. So I grabbed this from the embellishments, or from the die cuts. There are even these little gold stars and kind of like snowflakes, but stars. And we're going to go ahead, put a little dot of liquid glue there. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me with this. And we're just going to stick that right there. And doesn't that look so nice with that gold foil? So there's another card just put together so quickly using those bits and pieces. So I thought I was going to only make 3 cards, but we made more. So this is sort of beginning these two. And then we've got our sort of intermediate card. And then we have our more advanced with the shaker element. And aren't those super fun? I hope you guys enjoyed seeing those come together using the images and the pieces from, oh, I've gone too high, from the A Little Bit Festive collection. Throwing in a little bit of the Seasons of Elegance, a little bit of cardstock from the Pecan Pie cardstock, card bases, a little bit of acetate and bling, some foam tape. Poof! Look at that. 4 cards. Easy peasy. I hope you're inspired to get creating, get some festivities going if you haven't already made. And boy, doesn't that glow of that gold foil look nice? Anyway, that is our completed project for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you feel inspired to create. Don't forget, we have Chat and Craft again this evening at 7 o'clock, and there will be more postings as we finish up our journey across Canada. And the deadline for having all of your games and challenges completed is tomorrow, Monday the 7th of October at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So you still have time to get things done, and we will see you again soon. All right, toodaloo, bye.